Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars and welcome to another PlayStation 4 review. Today's review is for yet another Zombie Defense HD. Now this is a small indie title. It only cost me £3.99 in the UK on the PlayStation Store just a couple of days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. Now what interested me to this game now is I'm quite a big fan, or I certainly find them quite distracting and fun, like tower defense games, and this game is a little bit of a twist of a tower defense game. And essentially what you get with this game is it is a single player or multiplayer, and you can play with up to 4 other players, like a tower defense game. And you start off on night 1, it's just you and a gun, and you've got to make it through as many nights as possible. At the end of each night, you will have a certain amount of money, depending on how successful you have been. And then the following day, it gives you time to build your defences. Now, you can do this in a number of ways. You can put up barricades, armoured barricades, you can buy yourself weapons. There's a whole array of weapons, from shotguns, flamethrowers, assault rifles, lasers, freeze guns. You name it. There really is rocket launchers, a huge array of weapons for you to buy to set up your defences. You can even buy like mounted turrets, things like that, to attach weapons to. And it is the goal of you and your character to make it through as many nights as possible. As you go through the nights, the zombies that you kill will drop things, certain buffs. Sometimes they'll drop money, which is you will be added to your cash after each night, or they'll drop like buffs like invincibility or invisibility or faster reload speed, faster movement speed, that kind of stuff, to give you an advantage during that night. There is a level up system, and it covers things like reload speed, movement speed, health, that kind of stuff. The usual stuff you'd expect in a game like this. So you can upgrade your character, and you can buy a whole array of new weapons with the money that you get. Quite a challenging game, this, to be fair. The first time I played it, I think I made it to night 7, and that's the key initially. You've got to get to night 7 and make it through night 7, and that opens up all the modes. There are 3 modes basically in this game. You get defense mode, which is essentially, you've got to stay alive. I mean, the same goal with all of them is to stay alive as long as possible, basically. But the defense mode is you've got to make it to night 7 and make it through that safely, and you will open up then the endless mode, which speaks for itself, and the deathmatch mode, which is you going up against 4 other players to see who can stay alive in that. Now, if you watch a lot of my reviews, you know I'm not a big multiplayer fan. However, I did test out the multiplayer just to see what it was like, and I played it for a little bit. To be honest, I found matches no problem. There were quite a lot of players on it, that sort of stuff, so I didn't really have an issue. I'm not sure if it's cross-platform. I seriously doubt it, if I'm being honest, but I could be wrong. There did seem to be quite a lot of players playing it for a new release on PlayStation, if I'm being honest. But it was fine, it ran smoothly. In fact, the whole game ran very, very smoothly, if I'm being honest. I was very, very surprised with how smoothly it actually ran. And for a game that only cost £3.99, I was really pleasantly surprised with A, the smoothness of the game, and B, the way it looked and the way it played. It actually played very, very nicely. I think the developers here have done a very, very good job with this game. It's one of those games that £3.99 is, you know what I mean, it's neither here nor there these days, and it's a game you're going to get quite a few hours of fun out of it. It's quite challenging, for sure, but it is very, very addictive too as well. I found myself just being so addicted to this gameplay loop. You would get to a certain point, you would die, and then you're like, well, I've got to do better than that, and you kind of think to yourself, I think I know what I did wrong. And it's actually far more tactical than you might realise, this game. It's setting up your defences in the right way is very, very important. You need to leave yourself a gap so that you can leave your defences and go and pick up the things that drop. But also, at the same time, you don't want them to just flood in and attack you, these creatures. And there's a whole array. It's not just zombies, you get other creatures. Well, you get things like werewolves and ghouls and things like that. It's not just zombies, it's a whole array of creatures as the nights progress, and each night is slightly more difficult than the last. So it adds a slight new challenge. It could be that the enemies are slightly tougher and they move slightly faster, that sort of thing, or they will add a new enemy type the following night, like I say, a werewolf or a ghoul or something like that. So the variation of enemies is actually quite fun and interesting. It keeps the interest up while you're playing it. So very addictive and actually quite challenging at the same time. And it's one of those, like, when you die, you're like, you send it straight back to night 1, and you've got to try and improve on where you were. I think the best I've done so far while playing this game, I think I got to night 15. That's the best I've done, and I was really pleased with that. And the way I did that is I got to the point where I had enough money to put a couple of like mounted turrets up, but also I'd unlocked the rocket launcher as well, which was very useful. So I had these 2 mounted turrets that were going at the enemies, and I also had my rocket launcher that I was firing like each 4 corners, that worked quite well as well. So once you find something that works, it's just then trying to keep up with it. The trick is you get very tempted to leave the safety of your barricades to go and pick up these lovely things they've dropped on the floor, because they'll only stay there for so long and then they'll disappear. So you're very tempted to leave the safety of your barricades to go and pick all these things up, but that's generally what leads to your death, pretty much. So you've got to time it right to do all these sort of things. So it's actually a fun, distracting game, this. It ain't going to win any awards or anything like that, but I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I was really quite impressed with it. It runs very smoothly, and for the price, you can't really fault it. $3.99 for a game that's as polished as this and has got a very addictive gameplay loop. It's something that I really would suggest you picking up if you're into these sort of tower defense type games. It's not strictly a tower defense, but it's certainly a form of a tower defense game anyway. So yeah, 7 out of 10 from me. So I hope you found this review useful. Thank you very much for watching.